Welcome back to Road to 1500. Yesterday was so depressing, but today's a new day. I thought I'd switch it up a little bit today. We're gonna do like a learning video. We're gonna learn about the Caro-Kann defense, and then in the second half of the video, I'm gonna play, obviously, on the Road to 1500. That way I don't have to like post two separate videos. The landlord he's like sanding the floors in the other side of the house. Don't you know I'm trying to play chess here, man? Let's get into this lesson. So we go to learn an opening, learn the Caro-Kann. Okay, let's peep this video.
When white opens the game with the king pawn, if black is looking for a solid, challenging defense, a good reply is c6, turning the game into the Caro-Kann, an opening which has been employed by several world champions and their grandmaster colleagues. This move prepares to confront white's central pawn with d5. Opening the game with c6 does not significantly help black's development, so white may focus on rapid development and try to build an initiative against black's solid setup. Since black is not directly challenging white's center for the moment, a sensible response is to grab more space in the center with d4. When black is ready to fight against white's center with d5.
I think I've done that. I've done that, or I've brought this the knight out to c3.
Grabbing space in the center while challenging white's e4 pawn. White has a variety of choices, but we'll begin our exploration of the Caro-Kann with one of white's most challenging, as well as natural responses, e5. White grabs space, clamp.
Also, I was just thinking like, I think you have to like pay for these lessons and stuff, whatever. I just do. I invest all my money into chess, so yeah, if like people don't have access to these videos and stuff, boom, here you go. Yeah, I will be sending you a bill for this.
Clamping down on the f6 and d6 squares, restricting black's kingside knight and bishop from using these natural squares for development.
True.
An ambitious option to explore is c5, spending a second tempo on the c-pawn in order to attack the d4 pawn. Unlike the French defense, a similar opening in which black plays e6 on the first move to prepare d5. In the Caro-Kann, black's light-squared bishop is not blocked by a pawn, so black's most popular choice is to play bishop f5. Activating the light-squared bishop before preparing to close the center with e6. We're going to introduce some interesting ideas explored by grandmasters, but when you're starting out with the Caro-Kann, you may see a move such as bishop d3. This is not a particularly ambitious choice, but it is seen at amateur level from time to time. Since the Caro-Kann often builds a light-squared pawn structure in the center, somewhat restricting the prospects of black's light-squared bishop, black shouldn't mind exchanging the bishops with bishop takes d3. Queen takes d3. If black wants to simplify the game, then queen a5 check, intending to offer an exchange of queens with queen a6 is a reasonable path to explore. But another solid choice is to simply play e6. Black's idea is to strike against white's center with moves such as c5.
I don't think in any of the games I've played this has happened, but it's interesting to know.
And knight c6, when black shouldn't face any serious problems out of the opening. Offering an exchange of light-squared bishops is not a challenging option at this moment, so a more popular way to develop is knight f3, focusing on kingside development while supporting the center. Now that the light-squared bishop has entered the action, black can solidify the center with e6. The e6 pawn supports d5, while revealing the dark-squared bishop, preparing the pawn break c5. A popular choice for white is to continue with bishop e2. This modest-looking move is known as the short variation, named after Grandmaster Nigel Short. Although this may not look like
Nigel, my guy,
like a particularly ambitious choice, black should not underestimate this variation, as several creative attacking grandmasters have played this system as white. One option to consider is knight d7, preparing the thematic pawn break c5. But black may also decide to immediately play c5, striking in the center, adding pressure against d4, and preparing to activate the knight with...
It's a little bit, I kind of want to see different variations. Maybe he'll get into that, but it's kind of like, it feels like I'm in school right now. It's funny, I wish I could get a degree in this, because I feel like when I was in school, I didn't pay attention, like math and stuff and things like that. I'd be in the back of the class and I'd literally be falling asleep. I remember one time, I was in the back of the class and I was looking out of the window. I was looking at the clouds, and like the clouds looked really good at that particular moment. I don't know why, but then I was like in a trance looking at these clouds, and I was really, I don't think I was asleep, but it was this really like this feeling, this super tired feeling, And then all of a sudden I heard my name called, and it was the teacher. And she had asked me a question. I didn't even hear the question. And she was standing at the board, and she was like pointing at the board. And she was like, I don't know, she asked a math question. She's like, so what does x equal? And I was like, 7? I just remember like being so embarrassed. But looking back on it now, it's like whatever. Anyway, point of that story, I don't know, that was a little bit of a tangent. But if I could get like a degree, like if I could pay money to actually be interested in learning something, it'd be probably this, like, because I have a goal with this. I'm gonna watch this, maybe not all of it's 30 minutes long. I don't even know if you guys want to watch it that long, but at least like learning this, like getting some ideas down, getting it in my head, and then knowing that my chess game has improved. So it's like tangible. So yeah, I think the thing that I didn't like about school and stuff was that it seemed so kind of, it's like arbitrary, like it's not real. Like, I understand you can use math and all these things practically in real life. Chess maybe not, but chess is interesting to me. The Pythagorean theorem, I could take it or leave it.
Knight c6. Move order can be quite important in the Caro-Kann. Grandmaster Arkady Knightish, playing white, decided to castle. Of course, there's nothing wrong with this move, but his opponent, former world champion Vishwanathan Anand, was able to continue comfortably with knight c6, adding another attacker against the d4 pawn. If white decides to support the center with c3, one solid plan is knight g to e7, preparing to play bishop g4, pinning the knight on f3, followed by knight f5, when white's center is under intense pressure. In the game, Grandmaster Knightish played bishop e3, developing a piece while supporting the center, when Grandmaster Anand released the tension with the exchanges c takes d4, knight takes d4. White sets up a small trap, as black should not ignore white's serious lead in development and try to grab a pawn with knight takes e5.
After that, probably put him in check with the e2 bishop, bring it to b5, right?
This allows white to exploit black's exposed king and undeveloped kingside with bishop b5 check, encouraging black to move the knight once again with knight d7, which is well met by knight takes f5. Black is unable to capture the knight without giving up the d5 pawn, opening up the game, helping white's superior development overwhelm black's passive as well as underdeveloped position. Instead of the greedy knight takes e5, Grandmaster Anand exchanged a pair of minor pieces with knight takes d4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bishop takes d4.
Okay.
Black needs to activate the kingside, and the e5 pawn still has a cramping effect by denying black's knight access to the f6 square. This was no problem for Anand as he played knight e7. Black's plan is simple. He's going to play knight c6, adding pressure against d4 and e5, followed by bishop e7 and castling kingside. Grandmaster Knightish tried to open the position before black was able to comfortably complete his plan with c4. But black simply resolved the central tension with d takes c4, bishop takes c4, and then continued the plan by playing knight c6, threatening white's bishop while adding pressure against the e5 pawn. So white pinned the knight with bishop b5. Black prepared kingside castling while developing the bishop to e7. In the game, white decided to play knight c3, allowing black to castle with a comfortable position. Not only did Grandmaster Anand solve his opening problems, he went on to win the game.
Nice.
If white tried to discourage black from castling with queen a4, adding a second attacker against the pinned knight, black can simply ignore white's idea and castle anyway. The point is that if white plays bishop takes c6, b takes c6,
the bishop is hanging.
The c6 pawn cannot be captured as this would drop the bishop. And after rook d1, lining up with black's queen. A simple solution is queen c7, connecting the rooks, supporting c6, as well as adding pressure against the e5 pawn. Black enjoys the bishop pair with a comfortable game. Rather than castling, white may decide to immediately support the center with bishop e3, protecting the d4 pawn while adding additional pressure against the c5 pawn.
Is there any more
Option for black to move the king to g7 by bishop d3. And another sensible choice to take is white can win it. Look like a beginner. Only solid positions can be the price of admission for prospective defenders of the Caro-Kann. As is typical in the Caro-Kann, there is plenty of play available for both sides, and in this particular game, Grandmaster Nakamura managed to bring home the full point for white.
Alright.
Knight f3 is an interesting choice that is not without its poison, but a more aggressive choice that has also attracted Grandmaster attention.
So in all of these that they're showing us, like, they push the pawn. They push that pawn instead of like protecting it with the knight to c3, which is what I've done. So I don't know. Maybe they say like that's the best move. Okay. Then after that they bring out the bishop. Okay. And then what?
h4. This may look like a beginner's move, but it's actually a serious try to gain an advantage against the Caro-Kann.
Okay.
It has been
push the pawn. Push the h-pawn. Okay.
Tried at no less a stage than a world championship match and is regularly employed by grandmasters. White grabs more space on the king side and prevents black's natural continuation, e6. This would be a serious mistake as white can win a piece after g4. The light-squared bishop can try to run with bishop e4, but it certainly can't hide after f3, forcing the retreat bishop g6.
That's super interesting. Okay. I gotta keep a mental note of that. Push the pawn on the
when white marches forward with h5, trapping the bishop, so white simply wins a piece. Instead of blundering with e6, black can play h6, allowing white to build a space advantage on the king side with g4 and h5. A more solid choice is to stop the h-pawn in its tracks with h5. One popular option for white is to play bishop d3. And another sensible choice is to add pressure against black's center, starting with c4. Now that g4 is no longer a threat, black can return to the typical response e6, supporting the center while preparing kingside development. White may increase the pressure against d5 and develop another piece with knight c3. Black has an important choice to make. If black decides to centralize a knight with knight d7, adding pressure against e5, and hoping to support a future c5 pawn break, this allows white to play c takes d5.
Got kind of the basics of that. I think I kind of got that down. I mean, I could. Yeah, I don't want to go through all these possibilities because I mean, most likely, at this level, right, people aren't gonna memorize all these moves. Like I definitely won't. It's gonna take a lot of time to remember all this. So let's go to here we go. Here's a different one. Let's see this one. Come on, bruh.
Interesting complications with no shortage of interesting play for both sides. Advancing the pawn to e5 is a serious way to test the Caro-Kann. A less critical, but still important option is to simply exchange pawns with e takes d5, c takes d5.
Okay.
As we learned in the advanced variation, black typically wants to activate the light-squared bishop before playing e6. In one high-level encounter, former world champion Bobby Fischer, playing white in this exchange variation, decided to challenge this idea with bishop d3, developing the bishop to an active diagonal and depriving black's light-squared bishop of the desirable f5 square.
That's interesting.
His opponent, former world champion Tigran Petrosian, responded with the sensible knight c6, adding pressure against the d4 pawn. If white decides to defend the pawn with knight f3, this allows black to activate the light-squared bishop with bishop g4, pinning the knight to the queen. So Bobby decided to play c3, reinforcing the center. Petrosian continued with knight f6, making a natural developing move and waiting to see how white will continue. Fischer actively developed the dark-squared bishop with bishop f4. We usually see knights quickly entering the game, but this unusual bishops before knight strategy makes it more difficult for black to comfortably develop the light-squared bishop. One interesting idea is to play g6, intending bishop f5, allowing white to double black's pawns on the f-file with bishop takes f5, g takes f5. Black is willing to accept this pawn structure in exchange for strong control over the light squares. Grandmaster Petrosian decided to activate his light-squared bishop immediately with bishop g4, attacking white's queen. Now that black has activated the light-squared bishop, the b7 pawn is no longer protected, so white responded with queen b3, adding pressure against black's center as well as the newly unprotected b7 pawn. Petrosian wasn't comfortable with the placement of white's queen and decided to play knight a5. disturbing white's queen as well as protecting the b7 pawn at the expense of misplacing black's knight on the edge of the board.
Check with the bishop.
Before retreating the queen, Fischer first inserted the useful move queen a4 check, provoking black to retreat the bishop with bishop d7. Now that the bishop is retreated, Bobby moved his queen to c2. After this maneuvering dance, white has a comfortable position, and although black is certainly doing okay, his light-squared bishop is less active than black would like, and the wayward knight on a5 will also have to spend time to return to the action. Grandmaster Fischer went on to win this important game on his path to qualify for the World Championship match, which he would also eventually win. Instead of playing Grandmaster Petrosian's knight a5, a more stable choice is to play queen d7, simply developing the queen while protecting the b7 pawn. White would like to play knight f3 without allowing structural damage after bishop takes f3, so a sensible choice is to first play knight d2. Black supports the center and prepares to complete kingside development with e6, when white is ready to play knight g to f3, creating the possibility of an unpleasant knight advance to e5, so former World Championship challenger Fabiano Caruana played bishop d6, protecting the e5 square, preparing to castle, and offering an exchange of dark-squared bishops. His opponent, Grandmaster Levon Aronian, accepted this offer with bishop takes d6, queen takes d6.
Wait, but then you can take the pawn. No?
Exchanging the dark-squared bishops involves a potential pawn sacrifice, allowing white to play queen takes b7. Of course, white does not have to accept this sacrifice and may decide to castle, following the simple, safety-first attitude of the exchange variation. But Grandmaster Aronian challenged black to prove compensation after queen takes b7. Although white has captured a pawn, this does open up the b-file, allowing black to generate counterplay with rook b8, forcing the queen to vacate the b-file with queen a6, when black secured the back rank by castling. Black may be down a pawn but enjoys a lead in development with an active position. He's prepared to gain a tempo against the queen with rook b6, followed by doubling rooks with rook f to b8, creating serious pressure down the b-file. Black has full compensation for the pawn, and even managed to win the game after some interesting adventures. Do not let an early exchange on d5 fool you. Instead of the less ambitious, although perfectly reasonable bishop d3, white can turn the game into the more dynamic Panov attack with c4, placing immediate pressure against d5. White is willing to accept an isolated queen's pawn position in order to generate active play. Black's most common response is to support the center with knight f6. The central struggle continues with knight c3. Black has three main ways to deal with this position. If you're looking for a straightforward as well as solid reply, then e6, preparing to complete development modestly with bishop e7, followed by kingside castling, is worth exploring. And the interested viewer is also encouraged to check out lines where black plays bishop
So you don't want to take the pawn on c4.
b4, adding a Nimzo-Indian flavor to the position.
Nimzo-Indian flavor. What, like it's like a little spice?
If black wants to sharpen play, g6, preparing a kingside fianchetto to add pressure down the long diagonal, especially the d4 pawn, is also worthy of serious attention. Black's other main choice is to immediately add pressure against white's center with the sensible developing move, knight c6. If white wants to keep the position complicated, then the dynamic bishop g5, attacking a key defender of black's center, but the most provoking knight takes with e healthy on e7 attempt at this position. It's vulnerable.
There we go.
3. Simply developing a piece.
Yeah, this is what I've done.
For pawn. But it's also important to consider the natural response knight c3.
Yeah.
Simply developing a piece and supporting the center. When white defends the center with a knight, black typically exchanges pawns with d takes e4. Knight takes e4. Although the knight enjoys a centralized position, it's vulnerable to attack, so it's no surprise that black's main ideas focus on attacking this piece. One sideline option is knight f6, confronting white's knight, willing to accept doubled f-pawns as a consequence. This is a line that has enjoyed renewed interest at Grandmaster level and should not be underestimated. A more stable way to prepare knight f6
I won the last game that we played like that.
is by first playing knight d7. Known as the Smyslov variation, black is preparing knight g to f6 without compromising the pawn structure. As beginners, we may be taught the trap queen e2, threatening a smothered mate with knight d6. But as long as black doesn't automatically play knight
I saw that one, yeah. You put the queen there and then you can checkmate.
g to f6, white's queen will likely prove misplaced.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with straightforward development with knight f3, intending bishop c4. But if you're interested in learning more about the Smyslov variation, it's also important to study the lines after white's most ambitious response, knight g5. A good place to start is with knight g to f6, when one developmental plan to consider is e6 and bishop d6. It's important to note that if black challenges white's ambitious knight with h6, hoping white will play the unsound sacrifice knight takes f7, or simply retreat, black will be in for an unpleasant surprise after knight e6. The surprising knight lunge is immune from capture because f takes e6 allows queen h5, leading to checkmate. Black should probably settle for queen b6, when white can gain the bishop pair with the promising knight takes f8. But if black decides to play...
that's an interesting one. So the knight's there, huh? But I wonder how many people would play knight d7 this to start. I don't feel like people would do that I play against, but who knows?
Play more aggressively with queen a5 check, provoking bishop d2, in order to add pressure against the d4 and b2 pawns with queen b6. Now that the d8 square is no longer occupied by the queen, it appears f takes e6 as a threat, but white may calmly respond with bishop d3. White enjoys an excellent position with a tremendous lead in development. The queen is tied down to the c7 square, and if black makes the mistake of playing f takes e6, this allows the instructive tactic queen h5 check, forcing king d8. White's queen is perfectly placed to support the deadly pin, bishop a5, when black loses the queen. The subtle Smyslov...
I like that one. That's a good one. That's a good one, huh?
System with knight d7 is definitely worth considering, but black's most popular option is to play the classical variation with bishop f5. Following black's general plan of activating the light-squared bishop before committing to a solid pawn structure with e6, white typically retreats the knight and gains a tempo against the bishop with knight g3. When black maintains the bishop's presence on this active diagonal with bishop g6, knight f3 is a natural developing move, but black's bishop on g6 remains stable, so if white decides to play bishop d3, black is not obligated to capture this bishop, as black can always respond to an exchange on g6 with h takes g6, opening up the h-file for black's rook with a healthy position for black. This is why white's main line is to play the provocative h4, threatening to trap the bishop with h5. In this case, black should avoid committing to h5. This may look like a stable choice, but one issue black needs to contend with is the maneuver knight h3 to f4, attacking the bishop and h5 pawn. h5 weakens the g5 square, so white may also consider the plan knight f3, preparing to trade bishops with bishop d3, and once the light-squared bishop no longer protects f7, white is ready to play knight g5, intensifying the pressure against the f7 pawn. Since h5 leads to positional problems, black usually responds with h6, creating an escape square for the bishop on h7 without weakening the g5 square. Although there is nothing wrong with playing h5 immediately, white usually inserts the move knight f3, eyeing the e5 square, so black can develop and fight for control of this square with knight d7, when white continues the plan of kingside expansion with h5, gaining another tempo against the bishop, which retreats to the newly opened h7 square. Now that black's light-squared bishop is no longer in a stable position, white offers an exchange of bishops with bishop d3. Allowing white to capture the bishop on h7 is not a desirable prospect, so black typically exchanges bishops with bishop takes d3, queen takes d3. White increases the lead in development, a typical theme for white in the Caro-Kann. After resolving the issues with the light-squared bishop, black can commit to the solid light-squared structure with e6, placing pawns on e6 and c6, restraining white's central d4 pawn, creating a typical rock-solid Caro-Kann structure that is difficult to break down. Black is ready to continue with knight g to f6 and bishop e7, waiting to see how white may continue. Although black may remain flexible with where to commit the king, white's pawn on h5 makes it fairly clear that white will intend on castling queenside, emphasizing central and kingside pressure against black's structure. White's main decision is where to develop the dark-squared bishop, typically deciding between the d2 and f4 squares, options the interested viewer is encouraged to explore. We'll briefly mention that bishop f4
That's me, the interested viewer.
is the more active-looking square for the bishop. Black may continue sensibly with knight g to f6 and bishop e7 and provoke complications by castling kingside, but black may also decide to play queen a5 check, trying to provoke weaknesses on the side of the board where white will likely castle. So a common reply is bishop d2, allowing black's queen to move to c7, controlling the h2 to b8 diagonal. If white decides to play bishop d2 instead of bishop f4 immediately, we can transpose into this position by playing queen c7, or else remain flexible with knight g to f6, followed by bishop e7. As we can see, there are no shortage of interesting possibilities to explore in the Caro-Kann. In this classical variation of the Caro-Kann, white enjoys a space advantage with more room to maneuver the pieces, but black's rock-solid structure has typically sustained any pressure white has been able to place upon it, so this has been a reliable battleground in Grandmaster practice for decades. The Caro-Kann is one of the most solid ways to respond to e4. This is not an easy opening to crack, so in addition to producing positional maneuvering games, if both sides are willing, there's plenty of scope to inject dynamic play into the position. In order to build a solid structure, black often grants white a space
Had to reset the camera, let's watch the end of this.
advantage as well as a lead in development, so if you're facing the Caro-Kann you may look to build an early initiative. Grandmasters enjoy its solidity, as well as the ability to mix things up when necessary to play for a win. And if you're an amateur player looking for a reliable structure upon which to build your repertoire, the Caro-Kann may be the opening for you.
All right, let's do these. Let's do this. Okay, so now we're doing the learning challenge. We got 10 of them. We got these 10 challenges, and then we're gonna go into a game and see if we can use it. All right, I already remember this one. Right there, that's checkmate. Because of that. Love it. I do. Oh, this is pretty far ahead though. What clever sacrifice did young Magnus Carlsen play to start dangerous attack? That's a good question. I don't know. What sacrifice did young Magnus Carlsen play? I don't need these headphones anymore. Now we're just straight into the chest, baby. Now we are doing the challenges. See, I probably skipped over this part of the video because this seems like it was pretty far ahead. I mean, maybe takes and then there's like... See if we can actually like find the answer here. Take, and then I can't put him in check, so... Sacrifice, well, what did he sacrifice? This... let's try that. Nope. That, and then that, and then that. Oh, no wait. You don't take back? Oh, boom. Now maybe you take, yeah. Yes, interesting, okay. I found it, second try. Okay, how did Magnus continue his attack? Probably something to do with that, but maybe this first, and then now maybe we put him in check. Takes, nah, that doesn't work. Now, this, yeah. No, not that. Oh, this. Wait, what? Look, it gives the answer too. You can just block with that. That's interesting. All right, check. Nope. Down here? Nope. That's... You can win some with a mate threat. So how do I threaten mate? Well, mate is right here. Mate is that square. So... Oh, take. Now take back. How did I not see it? There's stuff. Tunnel vision, baby. All right, got that one. Let's see if I can. Okay, so now after he threatens that, okay, I remember this. You go here, and then it's checkmate. Photographic memory, baby. Sometimes. Black is blundered material, and white can win material. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's check. Wait, what? Oh, with the queen. Yep. And now what's this? And he has to take. Yeah, you win the queen. Queen takes b7. Which is premature. How should black win material? Wait, That's hanging. You take? Oh, that's not right. Here? Nope. Yeah, I can see that hanging. Duh. It must be something to do with this because then that protects that. Take? I don't remember this. Another one that I skipped? I only skipped over a couple. If I go here, like my bishop's being threatened, so what? Don't make me use a hint. So that's being threatened. Okay, give me a hint. Protect your c6 knight and throw in a fork on c2. I'm still at the level where I need to look at the bottom, look at where the number is, because I can't. From white, I have a better idea. From black, I have to flip it. I don't know how they do it. So okay. Doing that, no? Oh, it was the other one. I moved that one before. It's this one, and now that, and now that, or no. Poorly placed white queen. Well, I do that. I can't take back though. Take here. Now take. Ah, okay. Oh, I'm an idiot. Caro-Kann has sacrificed 2 pawns for strong attack. How did he prove that it was worth it? This is like puzzles. I like it. Well, see if he takes, then I can get in there. Well, okay, I can take that rook. Okay, that's clearly not right. Can I put him in check? And now I take? Wait, what? Ah, then I threaten mate. So now, take with that. Aha! White could have tried defending with pawn takes f3. Wait, I want to see. Oh, I can't go back. Force checkmate, here. Take? Nope. Probably here. No. He can block with the, okay, yeah. It's not take. I genuinely have no idea. Where can I put my queen? I end up doing ridiculous shit. Okay, here. Dude, okay. What clever move should white play to disrupt black's development before winning back black's extra knight? I can put him in check, and then he blocks, then I take, and then I win the knight. There we go. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. This is familiar. Black has fallen for a well-known trap. Yeah. I guess maybe I skipped over a couple parts of the video, but it's here, and then he goes there. I go there, and then here. I passed, guys. I passed. I'm so happy I passed. Oh, it's amazing, man. I'm like tired after that, but let's get this game in. We're at 1270. All right, on our way to 1500. Let's play a good game today. Let's go, baby. All right, we're black. We can play the Caro-Kann if he plays e4. And he does that. Now, I can do Scandinavian if I push this pawn. I also saw that one. Oh, he does that. Now is that? I don't know. Oh geez, I don't know. Let's develop that knight. I can't believe it doesn't feel real right now that I'm in a game. I'm in a game. Alright, he takes. I think take with the queen, and that way I can bring the queen back. Queen back. Alright, he pushes that pawn. So he's trying to do this, and so how do I prevent that? I actually don't know how. I can go here, and then he takes, and then I take, and then he has to take, and then I can take his pawn. Let's do that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That makes sense to me. I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking ahead. Day 16, yeah. Oh, day 16, baby. Although, wait a minute. Oh, if he takes... Oh, I made a mistake. That's too bad. He can take with the king, and then I can't take the pawn. Man. At least I can attack it. But now I feel like I'm down a pawn. He's got double pawns in the middle. I don't know. I did not think that one through, did I? All right, it's fine. We're doing fine. He can't castle. We're down a pawn, but let's try and get ahead. Let's put let's get our bishop somewhere. Let's put our bishop here. Brings out that knight. Bring out our knight. See if I can maybe get this bishop out, castle on this side. Alright, he wants to double the pawns up. Here, 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 that's fine. No, but then he can, oh, I can always take back. If he goes there, I can take. So let's go here. That way we don't have to double up our pawns, right? And that way I threaten that. He kind of has to take. Yeah, fine with that. Fine with that. Fine with that. Playing against Moral Support, 1279. Let's keep it going, baby. Let's keep making decent moves. Let's see how we can threaten him. We don't have to always be like scared. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but all right, we can take that now. Brings that out. I'm gonna kick his bishop out. Maybe threaten the bishop now. Yeah, I like that. I kind of like that. That opens up our bishop for that. Let's do that. So we have that and we have that. Yeah. And we're threatening that pawn. Guys, I like this. I like this. Man, I love chess. I love chess. I mean, you guys, if you guys watched day 15, I was pretty upset that day. All right, let's put him in check because he can't block it. I was pretty upset. I get super emotional when I play any sport in general, I guess. All right. Man, this is looking good. His king is like, this rook is trapped. All right, we should castle. Let's castle like this. Interesting. Pushes that pawn. I can do that and threaten that. Oof, I like that. Because if he takes, then I take. Oh no, he can take with the... Yeah, well... Man, I hate chess. Wow, that was so stupid. I didn't even look, I just didn't take my time, I guess. Now I'm down a whole piece. Takes, and then... Yeah, now I don't have... Let's do that. Kick him out. I still have this pin on the knight. So if I can go here and then here maybe. Yeah, let's keep trying that. So he's threatening that pawn, but let's really threaten his let's try and win that back. I'm fine with losing that pawn. If he takes, then I take back. I guess it's kind of like an all-out attack, but I feel like he's very suffocated here, and I have things I can do. I feel like I'm very active with these pieces. So let's try and redeem ourselves. Let's redeem ourselves. That knight move that I did was not was way too eager, way too quick, but we can get back in there, win a rook back maybe. Let's see. Let's see what we can do. Got this guy thinking, he's like, I don't want to lose my rook. That's kind of a smart move. Let's keep pressuring it. Let's like really suffocate him maybe. But then he can just escape, so I don't know. What if we go here? Let's try that. That seems super interesting. That is super interesting. I don't, this could be blunder after blunder after blunder, but I mean, I think this is great. I mean, now he's got so much pressure on that this knight is gonna die, and it has to, right? Unless he sacrifices. I mean, I love it. I love it. This is so interesting. This is so... Oh my god. Let's turn that. Alright, so he frees his rook up there. I think now let's take that, and he takes. I like these pawns up here. There's so much pressure here. Let's keep pressuring his pieces. Now we do that, block him off. He has to move away, and then I can push that pawn, and then it's kind of, I'm still down. I'm still down, but it's fine. All right, I think we have to take, then take, then take. I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. Let's go here. And then we can go here and threaten that pawn. I just let him get that pass pawn. That's not good. But it's okay because I'll be able to protect that because his own pawn is blocking his rook. So that's good. We're okay with that. Oh, let's save that pawn. Phew. He missed it. Let's keep the pressure on. Let's keep the pressure on, baby. Yeah, I'm not too upset. I'm down, but he's kind of, I don't know. I feel like I've got more opportunities. Okay, so he goes there before I can go there. It's unfortunate. How do we open up some space here? Let's push that pawn. All right, hey, we're still in it. We're still in it. We are still in it. Never say die, baby. Okay, he does that. He really wants to trade pieces, I feel like. If I go here, then he can take, then I take back. Let's just keep pushing that pawn. He'd be able to eliminate my rook if he pushes this, then here, then I take back, and then he can take my rook. But I'm not too upset with that. He'll be up. Takes. All right. Well, that's a problem, isn't it? If I go here, then takes. Yeah, then I don't have anything. Let's go there. It's not gonna do anything. Yeah, okay, saw that coming. Let's just start playing quicker. A lot. Takes, then here, then takes, then he. Yeah, he's gonna. I'm gonna lose my rooks either way. Oh, he just did that as well. Luckily, he didn't see it. Should not have done that. That was stupid. I got nothing now. Yeah, now he's gonna make a, yeah. Although he just. This is really like. Yeah, this is really sucks. This is so annoying. Gotta wait all the way to tomorrow to play another game. Rook. GG. Game review. I'm not as upset as last game. Considering according to the review, I didn't play that bad. Just, I threw away that piece and that was it. Oh! Again, yeah, I go here, and then I threaten that, and I threaten that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, at this point, I just didn't have a chance. He has 2 bishops and I have 1, and he's just... It's honestly like really, this is like kind of annoying. Like this is just... I didn't play that bad, but yeah, I mean, why was I so eager to play that move? Still even. Alright, I actually just ran out of space on my SD card. And had to restart the camera. Anyway. Yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know, it just sucks. I don't know why I like care so much, but fucking like losing is, oh my god, it's so annoying. I don't know, losing is just really depressing. Everything's depressing. I don't know what to say. It's just really... It's just chess, bruh. It's just chess. Wish I could articulate how I feel. I don't know what to say. So, I will see you tomorrow.